What was the last book you read? That book's probably been printed somewhere else across the globe too. That one book, ignoring all the others, printed all over the world with the same title, probably resulted in a tree being cut down. But it's just one tree. There are trillions of trees. How does that affect the environment? It shouldn't. But then, when you add the trillions of other books, but then, when you add the millions of other books sitting in countless libraries all over the world, then the destruction of forests doesn't seem that unlikely now, does it? Hi, my name is Kaamil, and this is my quest project, the Circle of Paper. Trees have a crucial role in supporting life on this planet, reducing 28% of this world's oxygen. And we cut down 15 billion trees a year without even realizing the sheer amount of destruction that's caused for a single book. And that's just raw material. The paper industry is in the top 5 most energy intensive industries in the world for a reason. It consumes massive amounts of energy, time, and resources, along with mowing down entire forests. For what? Half-used notebooks? This is why I decided to recycle paper for my quest. To make a change, no matter how small. And recycling isn't even a new concept. According to a research journal published by Graphic Era Hill University in Uttarakhand, India, we can save the lives of 30 trees, conserve 7,000 gallons of water, along with preserving a bunch of oil and electricity, just by recycling a single ton of paper. And US offices alone consume 33 billion tons of paper a day. That's nearly 400,000 tons of paper each second. Recycling paper for my quest was originally a bad idea. Ages ago, on the first year of quest, we had what was called a bad idea factory, where we had to think of the worst possible ideas that we could do for quest. Then we had to write them on post-it notes and stick them on the table in the heart of school. While I was walking around, looking at the horrendous ideas that others had thought of, one idea in particular caught my attention, and I thought, actually, that seems quite doable. The base idea of my quest was not that. After all, it was a bad idea, right up there with making parachutes out of recycled bottles and letting snakes run rampant in green school. My dad hated that one. But that idea, written on a post-it note and stuck to a table, was the reason I made it this far. At first, I was inclined to go with the snakes. I like snakes, but after a lot of encouragement and thought, I decided to stick to paper. Why? Because paper is always there, from my cue cards to my books to more books. And I don't think that they're given enough time, given enough thought. And people do not realize how much energy, let alone trees, go into making that empty sheet of paper that's been sitting on your desk. Yes, you know which one I'm talking about. But how did the paper get there originally? And no, I'm not talking about where you bought it from. I'm talking about how paper came to be originally. Well, the earliest known records can be traced back to China in 105 AD. They can be found in the Chinese Han Dynasty, where Cai Lun, a court official, announced, recorded, along with being given credit for the invention of paper. At that time, you had to wait for it to dry in the mold. Since then, the process has traveled to Europe and it's only been streamlined along the way. Now, you can use the mold as many times as you let it dry on felts instead. That's a worldwide history of paper, but I had to think about green school too. After a lot of research, I discovered that green school gets nearly 8,000 books a year. Once I realized this, I knew I had to start doing something. To begin, I put multiple donation boxes across various areas in green school, from the Juma room to the bridge. I received a lot of support and paper from the green school community, and I would like to thank them as a whole. It was with this paper that I started my recycling process. The process begins by shredding paper into tiny pieces. I prefer using a shredder as it's faster and way more efficient than using a cutter. Afterwards, you mix the paper with water and turn it into a pulpy mix. Then you mix it into another container with more water and the mix should be around 90% water and 10% paper. Then you use the paper making tools, which often include a decal and a mold, as you can see behind me. The decal is often a meshless frame, and the mold is a frame with a mesh on the top. You begin by putting the decal on the top of the mold, and then you dip it in the vat of paper. You pull it out and then wait for the excess water to seep out, which takes around 10 to 30 seconds. Then you remove the decal and put a felt on top and squeeze to squeeze out more excess water. Nowadays, the felts often are instead made from cloth, and you can use usually it's cardboard underneath to add some stability. Then you remove the mold, you flip it around, then use a sponge to soak up as much water as you can. Then you remove the mold, you let it out to dry, and then you can start your next paper. I was able to make around 10 to 15 sheets of paper a day, but sadly some learning errors set me back, such as the paper was not a consistent thickness, as the ratio of paper pulp to water changed every time I made a new sheet. As of now, thanks to the Green School community, I have got around 20 books and a ton of paper, not literally. The books that I've made will be for sale today outside, and I intend to donate the money that I make to Beggar One Foundations, an organization supporting the Bali starling population. I chose this one over many others, as Bali starlings not only are they a local creature, but deforestation has also played a huge role as habitat loss. I was also encouraged to write a creative story for Quest. It's turned out to be more of a speech actually, and this is an excerpt from it. It's time for you to stop this. All you're doing is mowing down the very thing that sustains you. You are literally planning your own demise. And you're going to drag others down with you. Billions of animals, from your own pets to some nameless creatures dwelling in the depths of the Amazon jungle. They're all going to die this way, all because of you. So stop. Stop raising forests for paper. Stop bringing the end of the world for entire species. Stop killing the one thing keeping you alive. Its generosity has limits, and you're pushing them. Thank you. This quest has been quite the journey, and I'd like to thank Phil King, Ibu Angie, Ibu Laura, along with Toby, Digby, my parents, and countless others, without whom this would not have been possible. And these are the books that I've made.